We were kids when we met, just two innocent souls, unaware of the journey that lay ahead of us. Two souls seeking solace in a world that felt too big, too overwhelming. We found comfort in each other's company, a sanctuary from the chaos around us. Sarah, with her sunshine smile and eyes that held the universe, became my anchor. Her laughter was like a melody that could brighten even the darkest days. We built a world of shared secrets, laughter echoing through the years, a bond unbreakable, or so I thought. We whispered dreams and fears, creating a tapestry of memories that would last a lifetime. Summer days were spent by the lake, our laughter mingling with the calls of seagulls. We would splash in the water, build sandcastles, and let the sun warm our faces as we dreamed of endless possibilities. Winters were for building snowmen, her laughter echoing in the crisp air. We would bundle up in layers, our breath visible in the cold, and create our own winter wonderland. We were two halves of a whole, inseparable, our friendship the one constant in my life. Through every season, every change, we stood by each other, unwavering. As we grew older, our bond deepened. The innocence of childhood gave way to the complexities of adolescence, but our connection only grew stronger. From awkward teenagers to confident young adults, we navigated life's ups and downs together. We faced challenges, celebrated victories, and learned valuable lessons side by side. She was my confidant, my rock, the sister I never had. In her I found a partner in crime, a shoulder to lean on, and a heart that understood mine. Little did I know, a seed of something more had been sown in my heart, a seed that would eventually bloom into a love I could no longer ignore. It was a love that grew quietly, steadily, until it became an undeniable truth. As the years passed, that love blossomed, transforming our bond into something deeper, something extraordinary. It was a love that transcended time, a bond forged in the fires of shared experiences and unwavering trust. And so our journey continued, hand in hand, heart to heart, forever intertwined by the threads of time and love. It started subtly, a catch in my breath when our hands brushed, a pang of jealousy when she mentioned a boy. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. I was in love with Sarah, my best friend, the one person I couldn't afford to lose. The thought of confessing terrified me. What if it ruined everything? Our friendship was too precious to risk. So I kept my feelings buried deep, a silent ache in my chest. I told myself it was for the best, that seeing her happy was enough. But with each passing day, the weight of my unspoken love grew heavier. I became withdrawn, my cheerfulness a facade. Sarah, ever perceptive, noticed the change in me. She'd ask what was wrong, her brow furrowed with concern. Each time I'd brush it off, my heart breaking a little more with every lie. Then came the news of her engagement, to Mark. It was a moment that should have been filled with joy and celebration. But for me, it was a bittersweet pill to swallow. I had always imagined being the one to put that ring on her finger, to be the one she chose to spend her life with. But now, that dream was shattered. A good guy, everyone said, perfect for her. Mark was everything she deserved, kind, caring, and dependable. He made her laugh, and he made her feel safe. Everyone around us seemed to agree that they were a match made in heaven. But for me, it was a constant reminder of what I had lost, of what I could never have. I plastered a smile on my face, congratulating her, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, pretending to be happy for her when my heart was breaking. Every congratulations felt like a lie, every smile a mask to hide my true feelings. That night I cried myself to sleep, the weight of my unspoken love crushing me. The tears flowed freely, each one a testament to the love I had kept hidden for so long. I had always been there for her, through thick and thin, but now I felt more alone than ever. Seeing her happy should have been enough, but it wasn't. Her happiness was a double-edged sword, cutting through my heart with every smile she shared with him. I wanted to be the one to make her happy, to be the reason for her smiles and laughter. But that was no longer my role. It felt like a betrayal, a constant reminder of what I couldn't have. Every time I saw them together, it was like a dagger to my heart. I had always been there for her, but now I felt like an outsider watching from the sidelines as she built a life with someone else. I wanted to be happy for her, truly I did, but my own feelings kept me tethered to a sinking ship. I was drowning in my own emotions, unable to break free from the love that had anchored me for so long. I knew I needed to let go, but it was easier said than done. The wedding invitations arrived, a stark white envelope mocking me with its promise of her happiness. It was a tangible reminder of the life she was about to start without me. I held the invitation in my hands, feeling the weight of it, the finality of it all. I considered not going, couldn't bear to witness the union of two hearts, one of which I longed for. The thought of standing there watching her marry someone else was almost too much to bear. I didn't know if I had the strength to face it, to see her walk down the aisle towards a future that didn't include me. But Sarah, ever the understanding friend, saw through my facade. She knew me better than anyone, and she could see the pain I was trying to hide. She pulled me aside, her eyes filled with concern and understanding. "You're my best friend," she'd said, her eyes pleading. "I need you there. How could I refuse?" Her words were a lifeline, pulling me back from the edge of my despair. I knew I had to be there for her, just as I had always been. Even if it meant putting my own feelings aside, I couldn't let her down. So I agreed, knowing that it would be one of the hardest things I would ever have to do. The day of the wedding dawned bright and beautiful, a cruel mockery of the storm raging inside me. I watched from afar as Sarah, radiant in her white gown, laughed with her bridesmaids. My heart ached with a bittersweet pain. The ceremony was beautiful, a testament to their love. I stood there, a silent observer, my heart breaking with every vow, every glance they shared. The champagne reception was a blur of well wishes and forced smiles. As the night wore on, the weight of my unspoken love became unbearable. Fueled by champagne and a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, things could be different, I made a decision that would change everything. The music swirled around me, a dizzying waltz of heartbreak. The grand chandelier above spun slowly, casting shimmering reflections across the room, adding to the surreal atmosphere. Each note of the waltz seemed to echo the turmoil in my heart, a symphony of emotions that I could no longer contain. I found Sarah on the dance floor, her laughter like a siren's call. She was radiant, her joy infectious, drawing everyone around her into her orbit. It was as if she was the center of the universe and I was just a distant star yearning to be closer. I weaved through the crowd, my heart pounding in my ears. Each step felt like a monumental effort, the distance between us both vast and minuscule. The faces around me blurred into a sea of anonymity, my focus solely on reaching her. "Sarah," I said, my voice barely a whisper. The word hung in the air, fragile and trembling as if it might shatter at any moment. I could see the confusion in her eyes as she turned to face me. She turned, her smile fading as she saw the look in my eyes. The joy that had lit up her face moments before was replaced by a shadow of concern. It was a look I had seen before but never directed at me. "What is it?" she asked, her brow furrowed with concern. Her voice was soft, almost hesitant, as if she was afraid of the answer. The world around us seemed to blur, the music and laughter fading into the background. The words tumbled out, a torrent of suppressed emotions. I had held them back for so long, and now they poured forth with a force that surprised even me. Each word was a piece of my heart, laid bare for her to see. "I love you, Sarah, I always have." The confession was both a release and a burden, a truth that had been hidden for too long. I could see the shock in her eyes, the way her breath caught in her throat. The world seemed to stop. Time itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her response. The dancers around us moved in slow motion, their laughter and chatter a distant echo. The music faded, the chatter of the guests a distant hum. It was as if we were in a bubble, separate from the rest of the world. The only thing that mattered was the look in her eyes and the words that hung between us. Sarah's eyes widened, a mixture of shock and confusion swirling in their depths. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The silence stretched on, heavy and oppressive. Before she could speak, I continued, my voice thick with emotion. I had to get it all out, to make her understand. The words were a lifeline, a desperate attempt to bridge the gap between us. "I know this is your day, and I'm happy for you, I truly am. But I couldn't let you walk away without you knowing how I feel." The thought of losing her forever was unbearable, a pain that I couldn't endure. But I couldn't let you walk away without you knowing how I feel. The words were a plea, a final attempt to reach her heart. I could see the conflict in her eyes, the way she struggled to process everything I had said. The moment hung in the balance, a fragile thread that could snap at any moment. Silence, a deafening silence that stretched on for an eternity. Sarah's face was unreadable, her expression a mask of emotions I couldn't decipher. Then, slowly, the color drained from her face, leaving her pale and shaken. "Mark," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the sudden hush that had fallen over the room. My heart sank. I had hoped, foolishly, that maybe she felt the same. The look in her eyes told me otherwise. Mark, alerted by the sudden silence, made his way towards us. His eyes, filled with concern a moment ago, hardened as he saw the look on Sarah's face, the way she was looking at me. The air crackled with unspoken tension. The aftermath was a blur. Whispers followed me as I made my way out, each one a searing indictment of my actions. I had ruined my best friend's wedding. The guilt was a physical weight, crushing me under its intensity. Days turned into weeks, each one a painful reminder of my mistake. Sarah wouldn't answer my calls, my messages left unread. The silence was deafening, a constant reminder of the chasm I had created between us. I had acted selfishly, letting my emotions get the better of me. I had betrayed her trust, shattered our friendship. The realization hit me with the force of a freight train. I had lost her, and the pain was unbearable. Time, they say, heals all wounds. But the scar of that day remains, a constant reminder of the consequences of my actions. I have learned, in the most painful way possible, that some words are best left unspoken, some feelings better left buried. I have not seen Sarah since that day. She deserves her happiness, a happiness I took from her, even if just for a moment. The guilt and regret I carry are a heavy burden, one I will bear for the rest of my days. I can only hope that someday she will find it in her heart to forgive me. But even if she doesn't, I understand. I made my choice, and now I have to live with the consequences. Life goes on, but the memory of that day lingers, a ghost that haunts my every step. I have learned to live with the pain, the knowledge that I hurt the one person I cared for most in this world. I carry the weight of my actions, a constant reminder of the fragility of love and the importance of cherishing the bonds we forge. And though the pain of losing Sarah may never fully fade, I hold on to the hope that someday, somehow, I can atone for my mistakes. For now, I live with the echoes of what might have been, a constant reminder of the day I ruined my best friend's wedding and broke my own heart in the process.